Hey everybody, I'm Monty.
It's your boy Ronaldo that's out here on this beach. I just ran up on Namor, had to smack him one more again.
And it is Shinobi. Yeah,
I do like the background, sir. That is very nice. Very nice.
Slavish.
Yeah, very lavish. And the new Black Panther Wakanda Forever. We seen it, guys. Back once again, we're back. Whole new season, whole new stuff. Okay, Mighty Shark Network, we jumping back off with it. And we had to get this in for the We Seen It crew, guys. Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So you know how we do. We don't make you wait to the end. We start right out of 5 reels, half reels count, third reels count, however you want to do it, 1 to 5, 0 to 5, really, if you want to even take it there. Ronaldus, out of 5 reels, what are you giving Wakanda Forever? Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I went in hoping that I was gonna be able to give it a 5. Through most of the movie, I was giving it a pretty high score. I ended up with a 3.75.
Ooh, 3.75 reels. Okay. Shinobi, out of 5 reels, what are we giving Ryan Coogler's Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
I'm gonna have to give it a 4.5. It's at a 4.5.
4.5.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
I'm gonna kind of split the baby a little bit. I'm giving it a solid 4 reels. Like Ronaldo, I might have pushed it up a little bit, but we're gonna talk about that and get into it. All right, guys, pray for me here. I go with my quick recap. We begin, of course, with the plot. We are now kind of a rush thing in the beginning where they're now dealing with the illness of King T'Challa, so to speak, and Shuri's trying to save him and do what she can. She ends up not being able to save him, of course, and they lose King T'Challa. And so then a year later passes, and the Queen Ramonda is now at the UN, and she is talking about the vibranium situation and other people trying to get vibranium, of course, from Wakanda and things like that. And then we then see Shuri and Ramonda as they're having some time together to grieve. They are now beset by a man with some, it comes from the water. Of course, this is Namor, who confronts Shuri and Ramonda, basically saying that they've opened up this whole new realm of, people looking for vibranium, which is not just in Wakanda, and he feels like they're putting them at risk. Everett Ross, old Asian colonizer himself, he talks to the ladies and tells them there's an MIT student who made a machine that can kind of, locate the vibranium. And so we run into Riri, young Riri. They make a decision to grab her, of course. In doing all of that, Shuri gets taken by Namor's people, and she goes to the underground world. We kind of get the origin story in the background of Namor as she's down there. There's a rescue made, of course, and she's brought back. Namor then answers in kind because of that in the rescue, and he wreaks havoc in Wakanda. We lose Queen Ramonda. Shuri then vows revenge, of course, and besets about going about that. There's a little war that happens, or a big war, if you will. Shuri becomes the Black Panther again after a meeting with a special family member. We'll get to that as well. And she decides to take that path to go. They end the movie basically in a truce, so to speak, between both nations, feeling like, whatever is to come, they can maybe face it together, guys. Okay, that was it. Do my best for that. All right, so I have my esteemed panel here. Let's first talk. Let's get it out first of all. Let's deal with it. I just want to start from the beginning, man, because I'll tell you what. In my theater, there was I remember I went early. I didn't want a big crowd, real early, but there were some young guys, some teenage dudes in the back. Before the movie, it was kind of rowdy, and I was like, ah, boy, here we go. But I'll tell you, when that intro hit, and when that Marvel, that classic Marvel intro hit, and it was all a tribute to T'Challa, I mean, pin drop. You could, not hear a pin drop. I want to know, was that anybody else's experience, or what was your experience seeing that? I'll start with you, Shinobi. What was your experience when you first saw that tribute for Chadwick Boseman as, King T'Challa?
No, it was similar. It was very quiet. It's funny how everyone has the same sort of experience. There were a couple of like, you can hear people tearing up a bit, I want to say. Uh, but yeah, it was very, very sober. It was very sober, cold open for the movie,
Very much
like
so.
for
Ronaldo,
sure.
your thoughts?
It was very well done. I'm glad Marvel did it. It didn't just pay tribute to the Black Panther character, but it paid tribute to Chadwick. So it was very well done, very well scripted. The whole theater, like you said, was very somber and on the edge, just really much paying attention and giving him his just dues.
Very much so. Very classy, and it really just kind of it set a good tone. I really feel like they did an excellent job with that. So as we move on, we're kind of like picking up the pieces, and we see that there's now they literally attack the Wakanda base trying to get vibranium. There's a literally attack, and and things like that, and so they're kind of dealing with that. Shuri is not right about the situation still. Queen Ramonda tries to take her to a time. Let's get away, me and you. Let's just talk about it. And that's where we, of course, see Namor. We saw, I believe, if I'm getting this right, there was an attack at the base, but it was not Wakandans.
Right.
It was yeah. It was
Oh, it was the United States.
right. And so we're like, well, who is this? And so then Neymar shows himself, and he just gets right into Wakanda, which is already a shot. Goes right up to the queen, and he's basically like, y'all need to handle this. And so alarm bells go off. So that's when we first get our first look at Namor. So let's get our first impressions of what you thought just in seeing him appear, show himself, do his thing, get in, get out. Ronaldus, what did you think about Namor when you first saw him?
When I first saw him, even before then, I didn't know his origin story. I knew nothing about him. So just even watching the trailers before I seen the movie, I'm thinking that they're doing a spinoff kind of Aquaman. I'm like, is this Aquaman? So I'm like, no, it can't be him. So I didn't know his origin story. But when he came in and I saw him at work, I instantly was like, okay, he ain't no joke. He's the truth.
Shinobi.
No, he's cold blooded. And I mean, he made a very good first impression. The way that he pulled up, he took care of business, and he dipped out, and did not mince any of the words.
No, he didn't.
It's just funny because not one thing he said he was going to do, he did not do. That I respect. There was no. I don't know. I feel some of the villains have been lacking. They've been the MCU or antagonists, and this one just felt like, oh no, he's not playing games for the most. That
is so crucial. Whether it's a villain or anti-hero, however you want to frame it, you got to know they about business.
Yeah.
And he came on the scene, and you immediately knew, like, oh, okay, this guy. Now, of course, old school. I always remember him as Submariner, way back. But the new Neymar thing, and we're going to get more into his origin story. But when he came on the scene, and here's my thing: what I love about a good villain has to make a little bit of sense what he says, because he's right. Like y'all, he's like,
honestly,
y'all the ones.
He gave a pretty sweet deal.
He did.
To be honest, it was to the point when there's nothing he said that was inherently like bad, or even he asked for help and then asked that could you help me in the same way you want to preserve yourself, and like that was it. Really, it just plot events make that more complicated than it needs to be. But essentially, he really does stick. There's no other sinister plan, really. Outside of some other things. I mean,
he really was just about the preservation of his people, and he was just like, you Wakandans kind of need to handle this because y'all the ones we started fine until y'all open it up. Okay, so now let's move on to So of course he talks about, he's like, somebody's made device. I want that person, and y'all need to handle it. Blah blah blah. That's when we bring Riri in, who's an MIT student, real smart, and she's got a whole device that she made. So the Dora Milaje, they go and get her. When Shuri goes as well, they go to check her out at MIT and all of that. So what do we think about the character Riri, introducing her in? I mean, I'm sorry, and she becomes Lord
Ironheart.
Ironheart. I'm sorry, right. And she's Ironheart as well. So what do we think about? Let's talk about the Riri character, the development, the introduction of it. How are we feeling about that, Ronaldus? Let me hear you.
I was with it. I definitely like her character. I did know a little bit more about her character before this movie, so I was familiar with her. But I think kind of in Wakanda, just a little bit, they had her a little bit too scary. Mm-hmm. Now I do definitely like her character. I like her stage presence. She the actress herself, she played a good part. She was able to draw your attention, bring you some laughs and different things. But I think they kind of played her a little bit too scary, a little bit.
Shinobi?
I can agree with that take. She did play like the scared tourist role for like 90% of the movie, which is fine considering that like the movie revolves around like everyone wants her dead, which is fine. I think this goes back to my initial issue with Wakanda, not Wakanda Forever, but just like as a whole. They need to do a better job, and like obviously there's going to be more movies. They need to do a better job at like making the African American and then Wakandan interactions more organic, because you can kind of just tell I'm watching an African American actress interact with another not African person who's pretending to be African. And you can kind of tell when like the wall is a bit. I remember just going back and watching the first one, like some of the dialogue is a bit rough with Michael B. Jordan and even T'Challa. It's something about it. I'm watching two black guys, one black guy pretending he's from Africa, the other black guy pretending he's from Compton. It's just dialogue coaching, honestly, I think is kind of something about it you can kind of tell. The worlds need to merge a bit better. But as for her character, she was fun, very, very fun. She reminded me of like a young Keke Palmer type of role, a lot of energy. My theory is that this role was meant for her. So just some of the ways that the lines were delivered and like the direction for the character. No, she's very fun. I enjoyed her for the movie. No notes. The character in the comic books doesn't have this much personality, which is interesting as a reverse. I mean, most people have complaints about vice versa, but this is a fairly new, hasn't even been 10 years since this character has been out. So the fact that they're in a Marvel movie this early on is a pretty.
See, that's for me because I didn't know anything about. I didn't know Ironheart in this. I had no clue about that at all. So I was just kind of learning on the fly. I kind of agree with y'all that I like, she's a good actress, and she was kind of, I'm like, well, listen, if you didn't build this whole Ironheart thing, walk in it. But she was more kind of like, oh my God, what's going on? And so it was a little heavy-handed with that. But overall, I thought she brought something that was needed. It's a little lighthearted, a little comic relief, a little bits of it there. So I rock with it. I rock with Riri. Now, I want to get to a real key part, that one of my most poignant parts of the movie. So basically, trying to get Riri back, they're intercepted. And so Neymar's crew, they intercept. They end up taking Shuri, and Riri. And so Okoye's left. And Okoye goes before Queen. And Angela Bassett. Let's just take a minute and let's just hit that very quickly. This scene with her and Okoye was just, you got to be made out of stone.
Another movie.
It was so good. And Okoye, of course, is pleading, let me go back and get her, give me my people, we can go back. And the queen is like, I didn't want her to go in the first place. I've given, she basically says, all my family is gone. I've given everything. And now, and it's just me left. I just felt that was outstanding. So first of all, let's talk about that scene, and then we'll reflect more on Angela Bassett as Queen Ramonda. But what did you think about that scene? For me, is one of my top 3 scenes in this movie. So, Ronaldo, your thoughts on that scene?
Oh, Angela Bassett pulled it out. She came from Tina Turner all the way. She pulled it out. So the general comes with her little card to play. Oh, I've sacrificed this, and it sparks something there. Like, are you really gonna stand before me and say something about sacrifice?
Right.
I had to sacrifice my whole family. My husband dead, my son dead, my daughter missing. And the way she broke her down, it was just like so on point. So on point.
Yeah. Outstanding. Shinobi, your thoughts on that scene?
No, it was very good. I mean, Angela Bassett was carrying this movie on her back for when she starts. I like that scene because it connects the first movie with the second one. Like, if you didn't watch any other Marvel movies besides Black Panther 1 and Black Panther 2, this is the scene that kind of calls the first one to the other one. They bring in this, like, in the same one conversation, they bring up Killmonger, they bring up Daniel Kaluuya's character, who's Okoye's husband, with the rhinos or whatever. He's in jail. The fact that T'Chaka died. There's a lot, like a really good recap through like Ramonda being upset, justifiably so, at like Okoye, and then obviously like Okoye getting stripped of her rank. Well, it was really really intense. Very good scene. Very good. It was everyone. I was captivated. Really, it was like, wow, they're really pulling off the acting, for a Marvel movie. It's not like, Marvel only casts like A-list actors, but it's like there's a very few points you like, wow, they were acting in this movie.
That's a good point.
And that's
no, that's a very good point. So let's talk about Angela Bassett very quickly, just as a whole. I mean, of course, again, terrible tragedy with Chadwick Boseman. So she's not thinking like signing up for the first Black Panther, like I'm gonna have to be a big carrier of the second movie, but she had to be.
It had to be.
Just the way the circumstances went. And so for who she is and her career, how she's respected, there's not many people I would even want more. I don't know if we have anybody more qualified in that role that could do that. And I felt, we'll get to the rest of the movie in a minute, but I felt kind of putting it on her shoulders as the queen. She's going to the UN. She's giving orders, that powerful scene with Okoye. I thought she was really carrying it well. She's not trying to be T'Challa. She's not trying to be her husband. She's being her, but still with respect and dignity. And that's kind of just Angela Bassett, just period. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and so it wasn't, of course, planned like that, but I feel like the filmmakers would probably say they were very fortunate, given the circumstances, to be able to lean on an Angela Bassett type of person. And so she's just, I mean, amazing. She's so good with it. And I'll tell you this, or Shinobi, I should say, I know what you're talking about when you talk about where it's like sometimes the dialogue is like an American, but for her, to me, she sells it well.
No, absolutely. Like,
I think she does.
She never took me out of that. Ever.
She never did, right?
She never. Other people. Okay, I'll say this because Forrest Whitaker died in the last one. Forrest Whitaker was the first, and this is on my first watching of the movie. Forrest Whitaker is the first person to take me out of this movie. Sterling K. Brown keeps it up pretty well. When he's like past, he's Killmonger's dad. Even like flashback Forrest Whitaker, who looks just like Forrest Whitaker and is not related to Forrest Whitaker in any way. Get out of here with that. But no one takes me out of it until I hear, and now the power of the Black Panther will be stripped away. Something about that was like, this is, you hired Forrest Whitaker to do a job, and if you hired Samuel L. Jackson to do the job, you would just have Samuel L. Jackson do the job in the way that a Quentin Tarantino movie goes. Yeah. But no, Ramonda never took me out. If anything, she drew me back in.
Yes.
Into it. And I think there's an easy, I wouldn't say a cop out, but there's an easy explanation into why all the accents are different. If I were to be on the defense for this, like, I mean, they show you in the beginning of the second one when they're talking, there's like 5 different tribes in Wakanda.
That's a good point.
There's a Jabari tribe. There's a tribe that the royal family comes from, and they all are represented by different colors. And there's the village which just has the big face plates on them and stuff like that. So if the explanation is that they all come from different tribes, which explains a different accent, like a different borough in New York, I'm okay with that. But you gotta say that. Gotta say it. Because the way the Dora Milaje, all the Dora Milaje talk the same, pretty much.
I think so.
But then you talk the royal family, Chadwick's accent is different from Shuri's accent. And then M'Baku's accent is way over here. Incredibly entertaining. He has some of the best lines in this movie.
My favorite M'Baku line was the first movie where he's like, his own father. He's like, he could not protect his own father. Like he was heavy on that father.
We have listened from the mountains.
But that's a good, I'll give you that. Could just be his different tribes. And that's, I remember I worked with a lady that was, oh man, Lord. She was from, Uruguay, I believe. And we got into that. She's like, oh no. She's like, I can tell a person from Argentina talking. I can tell a person from talking. So that's a real thing. But okay, I'm sorry. Let me give you your thoughts real quick as well on just Angela Bassett in the whole.
Angela Bassett in the whole. I'm pretty sure you're not ready to bring up the tragedy yet.
Let's get it. No, let's go. We here now. Let's go. We here. Let's go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So my whole thing was, okay, Chadwick Bosewick is gone, so she's gonna have to carry it. She was living up to script. She was like you said, at the UN. She brought in the American slaves. She had that big scene. She was controlling everything, getting her daughter in place. She checked the general. Everything was going well. Everything was going well. I was like, okay, I see how y'all gonna still do this movie without the Black Panther. I'm like, okay, it's good. Yeah. The graphics is good. Everything was going well. The script was good. How? Why?
It's still
like, why kill her? You didn't already the Black Panther dead. Why kill her? The Black Panther dad, the first Black Panther, he dead. Why y'all gotta kill it? Why you gotta kill the queen?
Tragedy.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, somebody said something that I felt was it was terrible, but it was kind of like, dang. And they were like, man, the Black Panther family is kind of like the Kennedys, man. It's just like tragedy. Like I was like, terrible. Dang.
Yeah.
It hurt, but I'm like, it is true, man. It's kind of like, okay, so let's get to where the queen. So of course, she, she's torn about that. Shuri, of course, okay, real quick, before we get to that, because Shuri does, when Shuri is taken, she goes to Namor, she goes down there, and she, we get the backstory with Namor. Now, this movie's kind of long, but because we have to do a whole kind of origin story with a whole new character. We see where Namor comes from, we see everything, and we see a side of him where, Marvel does a pretty good job when they get it right with villains, where they make it a little personable, they make it, and we kind of see his roots and what he went through and why he believes what he believes, and he's really taking time with Shuri to just kind of show her, I'm not just doing this to do this, this is where I come from.
Oh yeah, you feel his cause. You almost like get on board with his cause. It's just his method of bringing about what he wants.
Which I was
total world domination. At the end of the day, he wanted everybody to live on land. So
the methodology is a little bit, No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you right on it. It's like it's the Martin and the Malcolm syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm is by any means necessary. We pro-black, we hating everybody else. But Martin is more let's include everybody. Let's love everybody. We want them to love us, but at the same time, let's show them how to love. Let's embrace. So it's the different methods. They want the same thing. They want the equality.
They want the same, right? Yeah.
But the way they go about doing it.
Shinobi, your thoughts on the Namor backstory when we kind of took time to hear his side of it?
Oh, it was. I mean, his backstory, I think, was beautifully done. I think, like you said, they had to pour like a gallon into a pint and then make it make sense. And I think they did a very good job because they had to introduce Namor in this movie, but then also why is Namor Mesoamerican, and how does that? And why are they underwater? And then why are they blue? And then like how old is he? And they do a very good job with that. I think in a very like compelling like narrative like thing. I was very engrossed. I really do. I wanted more of Dolokan. Really, I wanted the focus to be on that because it was very like I think the movie has a very good pacing throughout, I would say. I mean, it gets a little messy in the third act, but that's every Marvel movie's problem. But the pacing is very smooth. I think that's why everyone really likes this part of the story because he has like a whole wall of like Aztec type of art, which is also just his painted history. So you can just like the exposition was good. It was a very good expository scene. It explains like there's vibranium in other places of the world, and then why is it blue instead of purple? Right. And then why are the people blue? And then how old is Namor? How long has he been around? And then they just drop I'm a mutant out of nowhere. And I went, when you play a video game, you go like this, and then you like have to go like this. I was like that. I was like, oh, okay. This is the second time we've heard that word in here. That can't be a throwaway line at all. And in the comic books, he is an X-Men type of mutant as well.
Be ready
So him being able to breathe into the water is essentially that's all what the explanation is. There's no explanation for the wings. The wings are the mutant thing. That's like
on the feet though.
Wing feet.
On the feet. There's no explanation, but that's the mutant part.
That's got it right. It's got
and the pointy and like the pointy outfit. But I think that was very entertaining, and I think the scene of him showing Suri in the stolen suit, by the way, that they stole from the U.S. Navy. I don't know if anyone picked that up. They didn't just have those. They didn't just have those. They stole those from the U.S. Navy. This is all a coordinated effort. Like they had step one.
I remember he told her that he was like, "You can put on a suit, and you're good." I didn't.
Yeah, like, we got like. There's no other reason for them to have these suits.
But that's Tom, that's what I said. I was like, why would they have suits?
They stole it. They
okay.
They took it from. If you watch this, like the scene, which is probably one of like the scariest, I think, scenes in a Marvel flick, where you just see like a bunch of people just jump off.
Just walking off. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was kind of wild. I mean, but like before that, obviously, there's like two people in like one of those like underwater pressure tank suits to like find the vibranium, and then one guy just ripped out of it. That's the suit that they stole.
Good catch. See, that's why Shinobi. You know what? Good catch. Catch. But
I was like, I noticed that when I saw him, like, oh, that's just they stole that suit.
I didn't even. I literally said when he told her that, I was like, why would they have suits?
Because they took the.
It makes sense. No,
because they took the metal detector machine, and then I'm assuming that's when they took it.
Probably when they got
just like punch a helicopter out of the sky. But no, that scene was gorgeous. I think that was
it was beautiful. Yeah.
In terms of like the spectacle, I think it did very, very, very good. It didn't feel like the Aquaman scene in the James Wan, Jason Momoa Aquaman.
It really took me. I didn't say I forgot about the other movie, but I was really just engrossed with it for a minute.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
it meant something different, I would say. Like it gave we know why this is important. We know like he gave us a very good they're super strong, but they're not immortal because his mom dies, and then his mom dies like hundreds of years later when like the Spanish conquistadors come in, and then he find out the hardest name I've ever heard is his name is. The priest calls him El Niño Sin Amor, which means the boy without love, and he just shortens it to Namor. That is the hardest, but completely contrived explanation. That is all made up in this movie. That movie that's all Ryan Coogler and his writing team. They made that from scratch, and that's gold. That's like what the freedom you get doing these MCU projects and changing things up is like that stuff right there. And they didn't have to do it, but they did.
No, that was a good line. I knew that was not real, but that was a pretty good line as well.
It was not. I mean, according to the comic books, that's just not how that.
No, that's not. I knew that. But
for the record, Namor backwards is Roman, so that's where the Marvel guys were like, we'll just call him because he's an emperor of the sea. Instead of Roman, we'll call him Namor backwards. But the way they retcon that, it's poetic. It's beautiful, and I will be referring to him as no more going forward.
It was, again, I'm old enough for Submariner, but I like the name more. But also, too, let me quickly also shout out, because our girl is back as well. Nakia is back. Lupita Nyong'o.
Oh, yeah.
Another great chess move by the queen. She goes, she's like, forget the Dora Milaje, forget Okoye. I got my own people. She brings her back. I was so glad to see my girl. Yes. She goes right down there, like, bam, does the job, pulls a whole Mission Impossible Tom Cruise thing, gets her out, gets Riri out, and we back good, although we're not really back good because, now we see Namor really flex.
Yeah.
Now he's like, okay, the crowd is pumped. I forget his little lieutenant. She's like, we can't let this. He's like, we ain't gonna let it stand. And he comes with the fury. I want to say, when not the greatest look for the Dora Milaje this whole time.
No, they're 100%. They're 100% in the wrong. Like, this is like, I'm so sad that.
Why is the queen? Renata, okay, wait, Renata, you wanted to finish this. I'll let you go ahead because go ahead first. I'm gonna end this one, so you go ahead. Just get it all off your chest.
I would say, I'm gonna kind of jump to the fact that it was a couple things. The fact that they killed the queen, but the fact that it was way worse what happened to Suri. Suri gets stabbed all the way through. Why she live? Why the queen?
Oh, you mean at the end of the movie?
Lived?
Oh, you mean at the end?
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah, at the end. Like, she, like, all the way through.
Yeah, like, that was kind of...
Like, her characters, to me, Suri is she's probably the weakest character. Even though she becomes Black Panther, as far as carrying the movie of all the characters, if you're going to kill somebody off, kill her off.
But my thing is, Shuri was stabbed. And again, by herself with no Dora Milaje, where we at, people? Like, what is y'all job?
They
left the queen by herself. Shuri is by herself. Like,
sleep on the job.
Obviously, no, I'll tell you this. Obviously, they needed Okoye because apparently without Okoye, they're just a hot mess.
No, I mean, they kind of also allude to that as well. Like, without Okoye, they're just like arguing at each other or just being incredibly distracted. And then no unity at all. I think like the last time we saw the Dora Milaje was, if anyone watched the Captain America Winter Soldier, I mean, they get busy in that. It's the same actors too. I appreciate the consistency. They whoop the fake Captain America guy, and they're pretty unified, but like under Okoye's whole thing, and then on the job, just sleep on the job.
Namor is tearing the city apart. Why is just the queen there with Riri, who's not even dressed for battle at all? Like, how? That's an L, y'all.
Yeah, it's someone raised a good point about it, that Wakanda is supposed to be like the most like technologically advanced civilization that we have seen in the MCU, and it's like, from what we've seen, they're telling us this, but it sounds like a lot of talk, not a lot of action, considering how many L's Wakanda has just taken. If you really think of it, like, first of all, the mills, like, I mean, all the UN's all worried, like, oh, they've got vibranium and technology we've never seen before, and MIT looks like a middle school in Wakanda, according to what we see. But the military numbers are abysmally low.
Very low.
for how like they get whooped by Talo Khan and Namor and all of this, like the numbers are small, right? Because like where are
Namor
the
ran
really,
through them like a plate of street tacos and refried
yeah
beans. Like
really, they
it was
would have lost
not
that. They would have lost that battle had he not showed up and squashed.
yeah
them.
no they were
They
they were
was
on their
done.
they
Like
was
they
they was
were
getting
it
M'Baku
was
was laid out. They was
no
I'm
they
like,
were
where
they were
where the
definitely on their
Jabari at? Where do
toes.
we
They were on their toes for real. I don't know why. Like, yeah, it's like you're supposed to be global superpowers, but like your military. I mean, like I guess Dora Milaje are supposed to be like the secret, like the special operatives. But if that's the case, where's your general army at?
they got
Like,
right? Well, and maybe it's just a simple fact. They've been so hidden that they've never
yeah,
really have had to,
had a threat that
no.
was
But
comparable.
you would think if you want to kind of tie into Marvel, you would think after Endgame, when
Yeah, they fought all those aliens, and
we
on
saw everybody. Now you out in the open. Let's up the ante, y'all. Let's
yeah.
put some. I was very disappointed in that as well.
Yeah, they
So
were. I mean, yeah,
yeah. So okay,
it
let's
was
keep
bad.
moving. I had to just losing the Queen was I couldn't believe it. I was just in shock.
It's a matter of
So
national security.
yeah, Shuri is now kind of running it. We have another funeral, for the Queen. It's
Ooh,
devastating.
funerals.
Shuri is like, okay, well, and Nakia's still there with her, Riri's still there with her, and she's like, it's time to get this Black Panther on, and we get a great cameo from an old friend, and I love this. This,
Mr.
as much as I
Ryan.
was grieving for the Queen, this was outstanding. Michael B comes back through
In the debt.
our old friend Killmonger, K-Dog back in the house, and he does not mince words. He tells Shuri, listen, your daddy was no good. He killed his brother. Your brother's way too
My
noble
brother
for
was
this.
soft.
Yeah, he ain't about that gangster life. You better make a choice, sister girl. He just killed it. I feel like he did. Maybe Ronaldo, your thoughts on Killmonger when he killed him?
He killed it. His small part, he almost took the movie.
He almost
came in and killed it. She didn't even want to tell everybody who she seen.
They was like, who'd you see? She's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
But he the only one got her mind right. She was
did.
ready to go to war after she talked to because
and the
that
thing
was
was
like
too,
that was like the cousin that's been to prep school all his life. He had to go to the hood and talk to because that one day his mama and daddy said, look, I don't want you hanging with him. Don't be hanging with them. They be in trouble. He going to jail. He'll be in prison soon. She had to go on and because.
But before that, Shuri flashed a little at dark side because she told her mother, she's like, I kind of just want to burn it all down. She kind of hinted at that.
Yeah.
And then Killmonger was like, what's up, fam? So what are your thoughts on Killmonger and the cameo?
Oh, I mean, here's the thing. He ruined my day. I mean, and I think that was the point. I audibly verbally yelled at the screen when I saw him because it was just so unexpected. But then it's also just like, oh, of course he'd be in this movie. Yeah. I mean, Ronaldo's is correct. And also, like, Shuri, yeah, she was also kind of leaning towards the dark side. Anyway, I think that's why the connection between Namor and Shuri made sense is because Shuri was getting to the point when I don't care about the rest of the world, just me and my own. And that's already Namor's vibe at the start of the movie. And he's already shows like he is ruthless, when he needs to be. Yeah, I mean, so you got all those playing about. And then, yeah, I mean, I was not sure how they were going to make Shuri actually want to kill somebody because we just don't know that much about her as a character. I mean, this is a lot of character elements here. No, I mean, it did what it needed to do, and it was funny how she just did not want to disclose who she saw there. It wasn't even important. Didn't even think it worked. Didn't even think that it worked, and then
to the vest. Yeah, she didn't.
And then it did. I mean, also, the way just to bring it up, we got here at this point because there's a bit of a debacle on the streets about whether or not there was any romantic tension between Namor and Shuri, and I'm just like, y'all, they had the Aladdin magic carpet ride scene. They recreated it in Talokan, and then I don't know about you, but I'm not gonna just give a complete stranger, this is my mother's wedding ring. Yeah, you take it as a gift, just cause you just take it, and you think about this offer about us joining alliances forever. Like that's not okay. Like let's be for real. But like that's how we got here, right?
There was some romantic vibes there, definitely.
Yeah, it was. It was an Applebee's Friday night vibe. Chicken tenders.
He's like, this is my crib.
Yeah,
this is how I'm living. We got the sun down here as well.
All that.
We got the sun here. And I mean, she gives him. Basically gives him. These my mother's pearls. You have them, and that's how she's able to figure out how to resynthesize the heart-shaped herb from like reverse engineering her brother's blood, and then it's got vibranium in the what's it called, and that's how we got here. And actually made more of them because Killmonger is the reason we're in this situation in the first place. My man said, burn, and they bring it up too. I'm glad she.
And they talked about that. Yes, they did.
The reason why Ramonde is dead is your fault because you wanted to burn them all down. You didn't want any competition, so you burned them all down, which is just a very dumb idea because it's not genetic at all. Which personally, I want to know if because they have their own version of the heart-shaped herb situation for the water people. I'm like, it must be genetic if there's so many of them. But you don't have to like take the blue juice and grow gills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's interesting how you have to take the purple Kool-Aid to become the Black Panther.
To be the Black Panther, yeah.
So I find that very interesting.
That's true. You could be right on that, but that was a great point. And again, with Killmonger, kind of like what we talked about with Namor, it's the methodology. It's not that maybe we don't totally disagree with what you're doing. It's just the method of it. But Ronaldo, you had something else before we move on?
Well, when y'all was talking about them too, I was just saying that was royalty talking to royalty. So they kick it on a whole different.
That's true. That's a good point.
Level.
Yeah.
Royalty,
this is a high value man here.
Yeah, that's true.
When you talked about the different methods, how Killmonger and Namor have different methods, it's the different things that happen to them in they upbringing. He saw the hate of the people when he came to bury his mother. He saw the hate of the people, which shaped him to who he was. And then the Killmonger, his uncle killed his dad, so it's the different things. And when you go with the Black Panther and his sister, they grew up in the palace. They grew up sheltered. They grew up knowing that they was next in line, knowing that they was had the best of everything. So they methods is based on that background.
We about to land this plane, y'all. But real quick, let me take a quick right turn. I saw a person on Twitter make a great point because they were basically I was not totally against Killmonger. Again, I was like, he's making some good points. And a person made a great point. It was like, okay. So we see Killmonger's whole origin story, and we're like, oh man, Killmonger. But we can see Black Widow's origin story, and we can relate to her, like, oh my goodness, what she's been through. It makes sense and all that. But it's really not much difference with a lot of the stuff they went through. I was like, that's it.
No. It's why I can't get with people who like say, I understand Killmonger, I understand Black Widow, but then they don't. Hawkeye to the same degree, a bad thing happened and he killed a bunch of people, and people want to draw this weird morality line and all this stuff. It's very weird. It's also why here's the thing. I think Riri was an important character in this movie because if Riri was a white man, he would have offered him up. In an instant. Because she says it, when she meets her at the IT, she's like, like us young Black female scientists gotta stick together. There was a kinship there, and that's when she realized, this isn't some crusty white man who made this machine with a twiddling handlebar mustache. This is a person. This is me. This is me if I grew up in America. I am Riri. Riri is me. I would be making my own art. Like she saw herself in it. So that's why I can't give you up this person. This person is important. This is an instant bond we have here. But again, I mean, the way that they roast white people get cooked in this movie, they catch strays all the time.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt if it was an Agent Ross type, it would have offered up. We want the scientists.
Yeah.
You have it. You got it.
That's
got it for real. That's the only conflict that was there. So I think and if they gave them the scientists, this would be fine. Everything would be great. Ramona would be great. Shuri got a new underwater boyfriend. It would have been at the end of the movie.
Would they really would have offered them up? Why? Because they had a chance to do Claw in the first movie.
Yeah, they would. They would have. That's what I'm saying. If it was Claw who did it, they would have offered up Claw. If it was like between if it's either give up Claw or I gotta kill you.
No, okay, this is how we do it. The dad would have gave her up. T'Challa wouldn't have gave her up. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
You got to go through the whole family of Black Panthers.
The whole gauntlet.
Killmonger would have gave her up.
Killmonger would have.
Take them all. That's how you got to go through the whole family,
The whole family.
Maybe, if you got to give M'Baku a little something else.
M'Baku is the best character. He reevaluates his beliefs after the one encounter. He's like, I fought the fishman. They do not call him king or general. They call him cool Khan.
Cool.
Let us support God. We cannot fight him. He's strong as the whole.
We just go Netflix. We're gonna need about a 6-episode in M'Baku series. Just give us
absolutely. This dude is fantastic. This dude is great.
Just let him just run wild.
Or Nakia as a spy.
Hey.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Let Nakia, let her do her thing too, because I love her. Okay, we about to wrap this up. So, all right, so we get through that. She's now on the Black Panther. They come up with an amazing. They figure out kind of the weakness of Namor, and they're going to exploit that. It's a huge battle, where they're on a ship. That's the thing about it. Wakanda, y'all got the Navy and stuff. We just
there are a couple of weird plot holes in the movie.
Like who running that?
We have a Navy.
Yeah, okay, yes. I know. Let me hurry up. And so then we have the showdown. And so as Ronaldo's talked about earlier, in the fight, he's in the desert. She's got him in a warm climate. He's wearing down. I mean, sure, he take a whole spear right to the gut.
Yeah, way through.
Big time, but she somehow comes out of that.
It's nanotechnology.
Yeah, I guess
heart-shaped herb, and then she
Killmonger got stabbed, and he dead. And he didn't even get stabbed all the way through.
Which I never didn't. I don't understand why Killmonger. But anyway, don't get me started on that. And so they kind of then, she's got the spear. I didn't, of course, there was so much development with Namor. I'm like, they're not going to take him out. They find out a way to kind of make a truce there. And they ended with that. And then, Riri goes back and whatever, Okoye and things like that.
Takes the suit.
So what did we think about just kind of how they ended it? Before we get to the end credit scene, we're just talk about ending the movie. How did you feel kind of, again, it's you got to have a Marvel big battle, blah, 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 but I'm going to say this. I want Namor to stay. I like the character very much. I'm going to go on Ronaldo's side because I'm going to tell you right now, fam, you killed my mama. I don't know if I can just let that slide. I don't know if I can let that slide. So I was conflicted because, again, I love the name. I'm like, man, y'all could have just had her fall down the steps or something just in the thing. But if it's directly at Namor's hands and I got a chance to end, forget this true stuff, baby. Let y'all all go. But that's just me. Ronaldo, your thoughts on the ending?
We gotta burn it down. One of us die. It's not over till one of us die.
It ain't over.
That's crazy. You killed my mama?
My mama?
Killmonger.
that was a lot.
I'm all the way there with it.
She was way too over motivated at the end of this movie. Like, there was already enough motivation. Like they already flooded they flooded the hometown, they flooded the city, they flooded it, and then water balloons got on my last nerve. It's just like if they cause a lot of damage for whatever reason. These exploding water grenade things that they keep throwing at people, and they die. Yeah, the ending was okay. Like I like how they tied it back together with like she went back to Haiti and she burnt her funeral clothes and like the grieving process. But again, her mom is dead and she's not even doesn't even care. Not even doesn't care. It's more like she doesn't even want to be queen. It's M'Baku has the throne now. It's like a lot. There's like the weird Agent Ross tangent that you kind of have to pretend to care about every 5 minutes. We got old girl from, again, if anybody watched the Captain America TV show was there. It just, and they were married, if you cared about that kind of thing. Well, it's an advertisement for the Thunderbolts movie that is coming out, so it's just like it's here. I mean, it was
it's
right.
a Marvel. It was a Marvel ending.
It's open. It's definitely open ended for sure. I mean, there's also
they want to give all avenues. This is what I always say. I just talked with somebody about this. Let's just say we have a new character in Marvel or anywhere. I hate to bring up Black Adam, but anybody you bring up a new character, those executives are like, okay, if this is a hit, we're gonna want a series to be spun off. We're gonna want 2 more movies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're gonna want an animated series. Or so. They're already putting all the things.
Oh yeah.
So name, so we knew that.
He's a product now. He's a Disney. He's a Disneyland right now.
Now, what do we think though? There's a special.
So why kill the queen then?
Yeah, I don't know. And Angela Bassett's on record. She was surprised. She talked to Coos like
because
why?
Siri wanted to burn the world now about her brother,
Oscar.
And then so she just gonna totally become a monk after her mom dies. Like I'm mad about my brother, so my mom died, and I'm just gonna mellow out. Okay, let's just chill. Maybe
it was. I think it's because she knew that she didn't want to be Killmonger at the end of the day. Like there's some deep shame about, because the whole like ancestral plane thing is supposed to be like a really big deal. Like T'Challa saw his dad, and then Killmonger saw his dad, and there's always some sort of like passing on of some extra supernatural knowledge to kick on. There's some deep shame she gets. She didn't see because she didn't see her mom. She didn't see her brother. And she sees Killmonger, which is like, okay, this is very unexpected. But then it's like, okay, but they share a lot of sensibilities here that I guess I gotta watch the first one to see if anyone, because you gotta watch the first one to see who disagrees with Killmonger really. Right. Not a lot of people did. He crossed the line, I think, when he burned down the heart-shaped herb and he choked out that old grandma. I think at that point, okay, he's gone from free-minded civil rights leader to a domestic terrorist in a way. So I think all of that, she's like, I can't be this guy. And
the thing is, she doesn't want to rule either. Like she doesn't.
No, she was never interested in becoming queen.
She's just like, y'all take this. I don't, M'Baku take that, you know what I'm saying? Killmonger, I don't really want to be all that. I just, she's just kind of just, I want to do my gadgets. I just want to, and it's like, she really don't want all of this anyway. So it's very conflicted. And we'll see where it goes, of course, in the coming movies and things like that. But so at the end, there's an end credit scene where she goes with Nakia, and we see a young little boy. And I remember, like, just probably in the first 3 seconds, I'm like, what are we doing? What is this? And then I was like, oh, wow. And we find out, which is a nice little bow on it. Of course, this is the young king who will be young T Junior, if you will. I thought it was cute. I thought it was nice. It made me feel good. It gave me a I'm gonna mess it up. Fast 6, Fast 7, Paul Walker. we meet again, kind of splitting the road thing. I really like that. Ronaldus, your thoughts on the end extra credit scene there with young T Jr.?
They kind of saved it a little bit for me. I'm like, okay, now it's hope. Now it's hope. I'm like, okay, I like that angle. You know, we can raise somebody else up to be Black Panther.
Another radical is born.
Because I'm like, if we gotta put our hopes on Suri, then I'm done with Wakanda.
Really? That's weird.
Suri,
you don't think Shuri? I think Shuri can carry it. Honestly,
you know what I think with Shuri?
Honestly,
we talk about. I see Shuri, man. If she let it get too far, I see her on that Hawkeye. I see her like out in Tokyo just working a couple cats.
I can see her. I like her as the ultimate sidekick. You know how the sidekick is always this genius in the lab building all the gadgets
in the lab.
Well, that's what she was.
That's what she was. I mean, the plot forced her to be something different,
but not the main.
I was skeptical about it.
Role better.
Yeah, I think, but she stepped up to the plate. I think, and then it didn't make her like so powerful that it just seems unrealistic. But then it's also we're dealing with like
when she 65 pounds.
But then it's like okay, but
she didn't kill Namor, but she did stop him. She's the one that figured out.
She also ripped out his wings, which I think is pretty
wings. I mean, she did. I mean, I'm gonna give her some props. I just
put him in the air fryer and cooked him a little bit.
She doesn't really want this. I feel like that little dark in her, that Killmonger in her. Like again, there's a reason why she saw him in the ancestral plane and not. She could have seen anybody else and she saw him.
Yeah, so anybody else.
She could go dark. I might even enjoy it if she went a little more dark. But so Shinobi, your thoughts just on the last end credit scene as well before we go.
I think it was good for like you said before, it's a franchise. It has to go on. I think this is the best way to do it and not recast anybody and then bake the real world sadness of losing Chadwick Boseman into the MCU and keeping it going. Like this is a way. We have a new Black Panther. We also have he's got a son, so there's like a biological thing going on there. We have Shuri's a new Black Panther. There's a new status quo here, and I think it's a good way to expand the world of Wakanda as its own franchise within the MCU, which is frankly is the only thing from the previous phases that still exists. If you think about it, Asgard is gone, and we don't know what's going on with Loki and the TVA and Multiverse of Madness. All these, Wakanda is still there, and it's still there to stay. That's why it's called Wakanda Forever. This isn't the end of Wakanda's story. This is the beginning. I think they wrapped it up very, very well. I think to go forward.
I agree. They wrapped it up. Now Wakanda show gonna have to get some mops, clean up all the water. But we'll do what we do. But okay, y'all, we had to do a big show today. I mean, it's worth it. This is very much a big deal, and hopefully people are checking it out. It's got, of course, amazing ratings and things like that. So, job well done, Cougs. There was a lot of pressure on them, of course, in a tragic situation, but I thought they handled it pretty well. So, guys, we've seen the crew. That is it. We'll be back with some more coming up. We've enjoyed this, but it is just beginning. We got some more before the end of the year as well. So I appreciate my esteemed panel, Ronaldus and Shinobi. Guys, check us out. We've seen it. Mighty Sharp Network. You know what to do, man. Be blessed. Stay sharp.